If you work from home, then you're going to want to make sure you're taking advantage of this tax benefit. So if you're a business owner and you work from home, you want to make sure that you have a dedicated space or room that is only for or exclusively for business use. So if you have a space in your home that you work out of that's exclusively for working, and it's not, a guest bedroom that you work out of, but also people sleep there, or it's not, your kitchen table where you also eat meals there, but you work from there. It's got to be exclusively just for working. Then you can get a tax deduction for this, and it's called the home office deduction. Now, the home office deduction, people love to take it and they love to talk about, make sure I get that. But a lot of times, sometimes, it's not that big of a deduction, to be honest. And so you're doing a lot of fuss and a lot of stress to make sure you get this when it doesn't move the needle on your tax bill that much, especially if you're taking the simplified method. So there's two ways to get the home office deduction. There's the simplified method, or there's the actual expense method. The simplified method is simple. It's $5 a square foot up to 300 square feet. So the maximum deduction you could get is $1,500 a square foot. So if you do the simplified method, it's not that big a deduction. So if you're at the 20% tax rate and you get a $1,500 deduction, well, $1,500 times 20%, that means $300 is your tax deduction. So you save $300 in taxes. Now, a lot of times, some people might take the home office deduction and it could increase their audit risk, especially if you're a sole proprietor. So if you're a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, you're taxed the same way, and you take the home office deduction, you want to make sure you just have documentation or proof for that you actually have a space out of that you work out of that's actually that. So whether that's a closet that you work out of, or a corner of a space of your house that is technically your house, your desk, it's clearly where you work, then you want to make sure that you can prove that you're there, sending emails, working from that every day if anyone ever asked if you got audited. So you just want to make sure whatever position you take that you do have proof to do that. Now, if you are working from home and you actually do have a designated space, there's different ways you could do it. Like if you're an e-commerce store, or like you just sell products as well as online, you're an influencer and you might get sent products, and you have closet space or a garage or something where you just store the inventory, you just store the stuff, then that would count as going towards your home office deduction square footage. So if you do actually have a home office deduction, plus you've got space where you store stuff, you could add that square feet together to get the total percentage of the house. Because how the home office deduction works is whether you use the simplified method or the actual expense method, which you just got the simplified method is $5 square foot. This actual method is the percentage of the house. So if you've got 1,000 square foot house or apartment, and let's say you've got 100 square feet of wherever your home office is, then that would be 10% usage. And so what you would do is you would total, if you rent a house, then you would total rent, total utilities, total repairs, total water costs, HOA fees, any bills associated with renting, then that you have to pay, then you would total all those up and you times that by the 10% in this scenario. So if that total was $2,000, then 10% times $2,000 is $200, and that would be your deduction. Obviously, for the whole year, it would be different. But usually the actual expense method, typically you can get more of a deduction that way. So you've got simplified method, actual expense method. So ideally, you want to try and make sure that your space, if you're using the actual expense method, is a higher percentage of your house. So if you got a big house, use percentage method is not going to get you that much. But if you have a higher house, bigger bills. But if you own a house, you don't count the mortgage principal. The principal does not count towards your actual expense method. So it is the mortgage interest, the insurance, the property taxes, utilities, HOA, repairs and maintenance, stuff like that. Not the principal of repaying the mortgage. You total all that up, times that by your use percentage, and that's your amount. So for the whole year, you total all up and it's $50,000. Times by 10% in this scenario, obviously you probably wouldn't have it, but anyway, 10%, if that's then it would be $5,000, that's your deduction. So again, $5,000 is nice to be able to deduct at the 20%. If you're a 20% tax bracket, 5,000 by 20%, that's $1,000. So that's how much you're saving taxes, which is nice. So to get the home office deduction, you want to, step one, figure out your square footage of your home office that you're using. Step two is figure out total square footage of your total house. And then step three, depending on what your method, it's just times that by $5, or if you use extra expense method, then you're totaling all those things that I said up, and then you're timesing that by your percentage method. Those are the two methods if you're a sole proprietor or single member LLC. Those are the two methods. If you're an S-Corp, it's a little different. It's the same, but how you do the deduction is through the accountable plan. And the accountable plan is a reimbursement policy. I'll probably make a video just on the accountable plan. But you each month or each quarter, every 3 months, depending on how you set up the accountable plan, which is just the document, you just sign it. You set it up saying like, okay, yeah, you can get reimbursed within 90 days. You get reimbursed for your business use of your house. So if let's say you do it every 3 months, after every 90 days, you need to basically total up. You have your 10%. Let's say your business use percentage of your house is you totaled up. It's 10%. You have a 1,000 square foot house, 100 square feet is your home office, 10%. After 3 months, you're doing it every 90 days. Instead, you can do it monthly as well. You total up the total amount that you spent on, if you have rent, if you're renting, rent, if you pay utilities, repairs and maintenance, maybe cleaning fees, stuff like this. And then you times that by 10%, and then you would reimburse that amount. So let's say after 3 months, each month you spend $2,000 on this. So after 3 months, that's $6,000. $6,000 times 10% is $600. $600 from the S-Corp account gets transferred to your personal bank account. And that is the reimbursement because you're getting reimbursed for the business use of your home. You need to make sure you're documenting this down. We have an accountable plan sheet, comment accountable plan sheet, and we can send that to you. We'll also need your email, or you can email us and we'll give it to you for free. But you need to document this, and you're turning in your receipt to the company, to your S-Corp, being like, hey, I used this business use, reimburse me for this. So you get reimbursed for that. $600, you got to do it within the 90 days. After the 90 days, you have 90 days to turn it in to get reimbursed for it, because that's your policy that you set up. So it's nice because the reimbursement, expense to the business, money in your pocket, don't pay tax on it. That's how you get the home office deduction as an S-Corp. Also, bonus tip is that you can take depreciation on your business through the S-Corp. You would just figure out the total, separate land value from property value, get the depreciation rate for that year, and then you times the depreciation rate times your actual home office use percentage, let's say 10%, than that. So let's say you determine the depreciation of your house over 27.5 years is $10,000 a year. So technically depreciation, $10,000 times that by 10%, that would be $1,000 for the year. You would get depreciation for that. There might be some depreciation recapture tax. But yeah, the ins and outs of it, if you have questions, let us know. But that's how you get the home office deduction. Remember, if you're taking the home office deduction, make sure that you're documenting that it actually is used for business and how you came to that conclusion, and two, which method you're going to use, and make sure you stick with that year over year. Typically, the actual expense method is better if you've got higher costs and not as much space. Three is that make sure if you do take the deduction that you're ready. Sometimes, in certain cases, it can be a point of audit and questions asked about it, so you're just ready to show proof that you are taking it properly. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a better understanding of the home office deduction. If you haven't been taking it, make sure you're taking it, or talk to your tax preparer or accountant or whoever's doing it, and make sure you're doing it. And if you have any questions about this, please reach out. We'd love to help. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.